All right, today we're going to talk about a tool that has no exaggeration completely changed the game for modern data teams. It's called dbt. It's become the framework for building analytics you can actually rely on. And we're going to break down what it is, why it even exists, and how it manages to engineer trust directly into your data pipelines. So, yeah, let's pull back the curtain on the tool that's bringing some serious order to data chaos.
You know the feeling, right? If you've ever worked with data, you've been there. It's this tangled mess of scripts, business logic that's slightly different everywhere you look, and dashboards that, well, they just don't match up. You've got tons of data, but the big question is, can you actually trust any of it? This exact feeling of chaos is precisely why dbt was created.
So before we can really appreciate just how much of a breakthrough dbt is, we have to understand the problem. Let's take a quick look at the old way of doing things, a world that, honestly, a lot of teams are still trying to escape from.
I mean, this slide pretty much sums up the data spaghetti we've all seen. You had scripts just scattered everywhere, the same business logic copied and pasted in a dozen different places, and version control? Ha! That was often just a dream. The result was these incredibly fragile, inconsistent pipelines that were a total nightmare to fix, and frankly, impossible to trust. And then, into all of that chaos, came dbt. It basically brought the best practices from software engineering over to the world of analytics. It gave teams a new, structured, and most importantly, collaborative way to handle all their data transformation.
So what is dbt really? At its heart, it's an open source tool that lets you do three absolutely crucial things: transform your data, test your data, and document your data. And here's the key part. It all happens inside your data warehouse, using the language data people already know and love, good old SQL.
To really get where dbt fits in, just think about the modern data stack. You extract data from your sources, you load it into your warehouse, and then you have to transform it. dbt owns that transformation layer. It is the T in ELT. It's the critical bridge that takes you from raw, messy data to clean, reliable analytics. And this slide just shows the incredible shift. It's night and day. But it's not just about making things tidy. It's about fundamentally changing how data teams work together. You're moving from these manual, siloed processes to a collaborative, automated workflow where trust is just built in from the very beginning.
All right, that all sounds great in theory, but how does this thing actually work under the hood? Let's get into the mechanics of what a modern dbt workflow really looks like.
The whole process is actually pretty elegant. Step 1, you use tools like Fivetran or Airbyte to just pull all that raw data into your warehouse. That's your E and your L. Then, step 2, dbt takes over. This is where you clean, join, and model all that raw data into useful, clean tables. And finally, step 3, you connect your BI tools like Tableau or Power BI to those nice clean tables for analysis. dbt is laser-focused on that critical middle step.
Now, if there is one single piece of dbt syntax you need to understand, it is this right here, the ref function. This little command is the secret sauce. Instead of writing out a table name, you just ref another dbt model. It seems like such a small thing, but this is what unlocks literally all of dbt's power. It's the key to everything else. So what's that simple little ref function really doing? Well, behind the scenes, it's building this incredible map of all your data transformations, what's called a directed acyclic graph, or a DAG. Just think of it like a family tree for your data. It knows exactly which tables are parents and which are children. And because it has this map, dbt can figure out all the dependencies and run everything in the perfect order every single time without you ever having to think about it.
And that's why this is such a fantastic analogy. You write these simple, modular SQL files using that ref function, and dbt acts like a really smart compiler. It reads your code, it looks at that map, that DAG we just talked about, and then it orchestrates the entire run perfectly.
Okay, so beyond just running SQL in the right order, what are the features that make dbt a true game changer? Let's dig into how it actually builds that trust right into your data.
I mean, this is the fundamental question, right, for any data team. If the business leaders can't trust the numbers they see on a dashboard, then all the fancy data pipelines in the world are basically worthless. So, how does dbt help you build that trust?
The answer is simple, and it's direct. The same way software engineers test their code before they ship it, analytics engineers use dbt to test their data.
This is one of the coolest parts. dbt has data quality testing built right in.
You can easily add tests to make sure your primary keys are actually unique, or that your status columns only have the values you expect, and so much more. And you define all these tests in simple little configuration files. They act as the safety net, automatically catching data problems before they ever make it to a dashboard. Okay, so testing is pillar number 1 for building trust. The second pillar is documentation. Because let's be honest, if nobody knows what a column actually means or where the data came from, it's pretty much impossible to trust it. And this is another one of those game-changing features. dbt automatically generates a full data catalog website for your entire project. With one command, you get this amazing interactive site where you can explore every model, read its description, and this is the best part, you can actually visualize its lineage. You can see exactly where every piece of data comes from and where it flows to. It is phenomenal for transparency and governance.
Okay, let's bring this out of the theoretical and into the practical. How are teams actually using dbt out in the wild, and what are their options for getting it up and running?
You've basically got 2 main flavors of dbt. First, there's dbt core. That's the open source command line tool. It gives you complete control, and it's perfect for engineers who want to bake it into their own automated CI/CD pipelines. Then you have dbt Cloud, which is a fully managed web platform. It handles all the tricky stuff like job scheduling and has a great collaborative IDE, which makes it ideal for larger analytics teams.
And you really see dbt's versatility in how widely it's been adopted. It's everywhere. Whether you're an e-commerce company trying to standardize your sales data, a finance team building rock-solid KPI reports, or a healthcare org aggregating patient data, the goal is always the same: create a single source of truth that is tested, versioned, and totally reliable.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's really important to see that dbt is more than just a new piece of tech. It really signals a fundamental shift in how we think about and approach data work itself.
I think this quote from the source material just sums it up perfectly. dbt has basically created and empowered this whole new role, the analytics engineer, who takes the disciplines of software engineering and applies them to the analytics world. It's all about building things that are modular, tested, documented, and automated.
And so that really leaves us with one final question to think about. I want you to look at your own data workflows. Are they built on a foundation of testing and documentation and collaboration? In other words, are they engineered for trust? Because in today's data world, trust isn't just a nice to have, it's everything. Thanks for joining me.